It's gonna be hot today, Jay.
Sister Evelyn.
Well,
It's better to cough. It's like makes you 10 times more higher than the Crossweed and the Pineapple Express, man. You're like totally fucking gong showed, man.
Hey, which way you go? Wait for me! Here we
Excuse me.
Tell those assholes to shut up.
Wilson.
He got away. I suddenly.
Gotta appreciate the lady.
Come on, man. You are.
Yes, you.
Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy.
It's still there. Excuse me. I think I've got a little something stuck in my... There it is.
Red. Red. Where'd you come from, man? Where'd he come from?
Came back to save us.
You saved us?
The stray.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Stand up! Stand up!
You missed a big nut.
Oh, Jesus.
It's not.
Have it your way, Archimedes.
But he is my brother-in-law.
That's a bit uncharitable.
We're gonna drown.
Class.
Policeman. Real easy, soldier.
I just work here.
Let's go.
Wise up, for Christ's sake.
Why does the old man keep his teeth in a glass at night?
It's where he keeps his strength, his spirit. His spirit is in those teeth. Yeah. Oh, you're missing a little strength.
Wrapping her in its shoestrings and taking her high up into. I love you.
Lock Rich's mom.
Mommy. Worry, don't tell Cookie, you.
Halfway there.
And now, old Burke.
You're feeling it, aren't you?
Toys.
We need to get out of here.
there?
How on earth did that happen?
Look over here.
On the cathedral steps and the
Something tells me that you're all wet, Archimedes.
Oh, sorry, Z.
Honestly, don't you want to channel the transit authority?
Other mayors have to live in this house after we're gone.
Go on in there, Al, and I'll send everybody in. Just sit down.
Oh, we're making fast! Not long after this sorrowful event, a young knight named J.M. Barnaby came into the city. He vowed to...
Sylvia, come on. What's the matter?
No, James!
Back to the house. Go on.
Since the war began, now has the upper hand.
Yes! Yeah! So...
I...
Great idea, Woody.
You mean...
The fact is, migrators reject...
There's my favorite girl.
No!
Yeah, what's old motor been up to, huh?
Barbados, hang on.
As I told you before.
He's a very...
Yeah, I'm fine.
I don't think it's fair.
I'll tell you what's fair, what's not.
What's...
Well,
Come on, cough it out like you done before.
Anyone asks, that's not what it's called.
Call it the banana boat.
Just make sure you leave the weed too, you know, this can be a gateway drug. You got you.
If you're not...
Listen.
Yes, what happened with the black bandit?
Father.
People just made this.
Careful, they may have left other traps.
Hey, horse.
Ray.
Don't move. What's in your hand? What's in your hand?
Weed. How you doing?
Or you have.
Keep
He's alive!
See, I don't think you understood me.
A minute. A dupe, a pawn.
Did you want something?
Ice, we have to get you out of there.
Whatever he is, I am terribly allergic.
The gorillas still cling to the Kalashnikov, but